podcast of Overdrive Fitness. My name is Teddy Gerzon, and I'm joined by Gina Marie Gerzon.
We are back.
Back in action. Only one of us is back in black, though. But, I don't know, it's a good color scheme that we've got going on, red and black. Those are our gym colors. Actually, it's funny, I match my mic, you match your mic. There you go.
I'm just black on the bottom. You're black on the top.
Yes, I've got red on the bottom.
I don't know. Take it however
Just
you want it.
a little bit of red.
Whatever.
But, yeah, here we are. It's been several weeks since we've released an episode, and, we are back. So, just to give you an update of the timeline, yes, the Super Bowl is past. Valentine's Day is past. We are about 6-7 weeks beyond New Year's, where everybody says they're going to start the new year fresh. They've got a ton of weight, a ton of fat to lose, right? They're going to get in the greatest shape of their life. And to be very honest, we've spoken about this before, but most people fail after 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, roughly about 3 weeks.
And we are about 6-7 weeks past that. So, from New Year's. So, and another 3 to 4 weeks beyond that typical failing point. Whoever was hanging on by a thread, they're definitely off track by now. They've probably already given up. Most likely, they've given up on their goals by now. Mm-hmm. And it's not surprising because, there's plenty of factors, especially once you're an adult. There's plenty of factors that come into play when it comes to not moving the needle in the right direction as far as, moving towards your health and fitness goal, right? For most people, because this is a very obese and overweight country. Mm-hmm. For most people, their goal is to shred fat, right? Lose weight overall, but definitely target fat loss. And it's part of the problem is people don't look at the big picture, or they don't ever step back and look at the big picture. You don't have to look at the big picture all the time, but it's good to remind yourself of what you're trying to get done, right? So let's say you had 50 pounds to lose, right? Well, you didn't put that 50 on overnight, so you can't expect to lose it, pretty rapidly either, right? So you've heard us preach about this all the time. It's the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is establishing great habits into your life, right?
Absolutely. And, establishing maybe 1 to 3 attainable goals or habits that you feel are easy enough to practice and be successful at day to day, so day in and day out.
When we've had a lot of new members, new challengers start recently, right? And the overall theme of them coming in is, for the most part, what they're looking for is, I'd say, the thing that has led us to become very successful with our transformations in recent years. They want accountability. They want accountability coaches. They want somebody to have to answer to that they know is going to be very honest with them, right? And one thing that you're great at with all these clients, whether they're old, new, whatever, is establishing easy habits for them to ingrain in their life, right? It's easy for us too because we program them right into, I shouldn't even say we, Gina programs them right into their Overdrive Fitness app, right? So it's right on their dashboard every day. And I say this from the start when everyone signs up, right? We try to keep things as simple as possible. So as an adult, your life is going to be stressful, right? There's no way around that. When it comes to working out and nutrition, most people don't give enough of a shit to go out and become experts and in that field and educate themselves to where they can be successful on their own. So they reach out to people like us, and we started simple. We're not trying to add stress to your life when it comes to workouts or nutrition. We're just here to make small adjustments over time that wind up becoming big adjustments in the long run. And before you know it, you get to your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I mean, if you want to get into, let's say, 2 examples of habits that we establish with people. We don't have to give everybody our secrets, but and I wouldn't even
Well,
say they're secrets, but
It's what works, really.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're not here to be fancy, because fancy don't work. So we're here to, simple is successful. Our programming is very straightforward. Our hybrid programming for all of our hybrid members is extremely successful, and it's simple and straightforward because it works. And people respond to that. All this fancy shit becomes very overwhelming. Fancy might look good on paper or social media or whatever, but the majority of the time, most people don't do fancy, don't want fancy, they want results. So that's what we provide. And 1 or 2 things that I think would absolutely help is just finding a sleep structure. Consistent sleep structure, creating habits around that will get you relaxed at roughly the same time every evening, get you into bed at roughly the same time every evening, and allow you to wake up rested just about the same time every morning. So that's huge. And as we know, consistent quality sleep is a very large component of your success. So mentally and physically, emotionally, all those points on the chalkboard, it's important to make sure we hit all of those points so we allow ourselves to feel more balanced from day to day and from week to week, because at that point, that cumulative effect is where we see the results and where we feel successful, and we see the success on our bodies, we feel it in our minds, we see it in our progress, in our day-to-day work life, family life, sport life, possibly for our athletes. Some of our adults do compete in different arenas, not just in life and in family. We have some competitive soulmates in here, so which is great. It keeps things lively and it keeps things exciting, and which is a good thing. We always like that. So your sleep structure is 1, and just even focusing on getting more liquid hydration, so things that actually hydrate the body through the day.
we're on the same wavelength. That's pretty funny. Those are the 2 habits I wanted to actually.
Oh, because I was teeter-tottering, because there's so many important habits,
So many.
obviously, but I'm very psychic, so no.
Stop
I'm
invading
just
my personal space.
This is what we've had going on since we met. So anyway, so yeah, besides your sleep structure and getting into that routine and laying the foundation of consistency, and I keep highlighting the word consistency, because consistency is really what gets you to where you need to be. The intensity kind of ebbs and flows because we're humans, and there's days when we feel like shit, there's days when we feel fucking amazing, and then there's days when we're kind of somewhere in between. And all of us tend to teeter-totter back and forth, within, without, higher, lower, within that range, or above and below that range, whatever. And that, again, depends on how many of those habits do you really have in play and in check. And you're consistently, from day to day, week to week, following those habits for the most part. you can go balls to the wall 1 or 2 days a week, and then you're fucked for the rest of the week because you're sore, you're not sleeping right, maybe you didn't eat enough, you have a stressful work week, the kids didn't sleep through the night, maybe one of them threw up, one of them had to be picked up from school early, dance class, soccer practice, rehearsals, whatever is going on, debate team, I don't know. It could be anything. No, hey,
No, I'm not
we all
making
have
fun.
our. I mean, that was not me. That was more like you, but but regardless of that, there's usually something going on. Maybe you have a late night hockey practice with your boys, and you're on a league, and dinner's waiting for you at 10 o'clock at night. I don't know, but we try to create that structure. But besides that, the hydration is huge. Obviously, with hydration, your blood is a large part of that. So your water, it's a large part of how much blood is circulating in your body. How hydrated we are too allows the nutrients to kind of flow through our bodies that much easier. The more hydrated we are, the more effectively and more efficiently our brain functions. I could just go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very, very exciting to me because I love this shit. But point is that you function more optimally when you're hydrated. Your joints work much better. You move much more fluidly. Nice. So there's a lot of things. Your heart doesn't have to work quite as hard. It actually has to work much less. The more efficiently it works a lot less, right? So efficiently, but not as hard. So all of those things, it gets a little bit of a break. But those two things, I think, are huge, huge factors. And they, again, laying the foundation for more success and building upon that and upon that and upon that. I don't need to use fancy terms to get the point across to everybody. And I might not be the most eloquent speaker, but I know you guys get it. So, I don't know, those two things are right on top there with some others, but we can kind of get into that as we get back.
I think those two, if you're going to take anything away from today's episode, those two are probably the two simplest things you can fix in your journey, and they'll yield some of the best results just doing those two alone, right? Everything else will fall into place. It's a lot easier to get on top of everything, right? So like, we always say that you can't out-train a bad diet, right? So like, we always put recovery near the top of the list because like, and that's why we always talk about sleep being something you need to improve, right? Getting more quality sleep. That's a great habit, like creating those pre-bedtime habits like Gina was referring to, so that you get to bed right away. You fall asleep right away, I should say. Obviously things like, not being glued to your phone up until the minute you fall asleep and then wondering why you're up for another hour before you finally fall asleep, and then you wind up only getting 2 hours of sleep, right? So to add to that, I mean, because we believe in it so much, take the Sleep Multiplier by Prestige Labs, right? We've been talking about that since day one, and it's because we strongly believe in that product. I mean, we use it. I get the best night. When I don't take it, right, and let's be honest, there was a time where nobody could take it because the manufacturer for the supplement company decided to just not produce the product. They stole all the supplement company. They stole all Prestige Labs' money and just didn't use it and didn't create anything with it, right? So there was a time where it wasn't in production and nobody could get their hands on it. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get the best night of sleep up until they found a new manufacturer and it came back out. I take it every single night. I get high quality sleep, whether it's 4 or 6 hours of sleep. I think last night I got 7, which was amazing. I feel like I got 12. But my Whoop band can confirm my sleep quality has definitely increased. So if you're interested in getting better sleep, taking something that's natural that you won't get popped in a drug test for, something that will help you fall asleep, help you stay asleep, and won't have you feeling groggy when you wake up, then check out the link in the show notes, or just go to overdrivefitnessny.com and click on Prestige Labs. It'll take you right to our site. You'll save at least 30-40% off of the normal retail website. Okay, and excuse me. And you can also check out the link in my bio or the OD Fitness NY Instagram account bio. There's a link to Prestige Labs in there too, right? So as far as water intake, liquid intake, because it goes more than water, but you specifically said liquid intake.
I'm not talking alcohol.
Yeah.
Something that actually hydrates you.
Like water and an electrolyte drink, basically. But the point being, a lot of people don't drink enough of what they need, right? They drink a lot of what they don't need, or they don't drink anything at all, right? So, you touched on some great points of what it improves. I'd like to add too, and I don't know if you quite said it, but what I always like to tell people, why it's so important to stay properly hydrated, is just mental efficiency, mental clarity, right? So your brain operates better when you're properly hydrated, right? So, and then if you're actually retaining water properly, you have your electrolyte levels are at a good level, right? That electric pulse moving between your heart and your brain moves a lot better. That's why you don't feel sluggish when you're properly hydrated. Whereas, like, if you've ever been dehydrated and you feel like the world's moving slow around you,
foggy, yeah.
That's
definitely
why.
a sign of dehydration, yeah.
So that's not good, right? So if we're going to leave you with anything to change, and only 2 things to change right now and instill in your daily habits, improve your quality of sleep through your pre-bedtime sleep rituals.
Structure, yeah, and your rituals, yeah.
And then properly hydrate, right? So we can help you with that, obviously. But just know that when we do these things, we keep it as simple as possible, right? So we don't expect everybody. We've had some train wrecks come in here where, like, everything in their life was just causing huge problems, right? But it's important to attack one problem at a time so that you can start stacking wins on top of wins on top of wins. And then next thing you know, later on down the road, you've made huge gains, right?
Because when we start to focus on 1 or 2, or if we can handle it, maybe 3 really simple habits that we can kind of pave the way for future success by just laying it down slowly and practicing those specific habits consistently, like I said, day in and day out. I sound like a broken record, but that's exactly what you need to do to be successful, is really solidify it into the ground. So again, right, the foundation is the first thing that a house is set up on. Lay that foundation. If there's a strong foundation, the house, pretty much for the most part, should be solid, right? Where you're building upon a successful foundation. So, and that's what we see in our members, the ones who have actually come in here after those first 3 weeks of January. Those people are serious. Those people want it. And we actually just guide them and support them. We help gear them towards that success. Again, simple and to the point. And that's all you need. Simple and to the point. Consistency always wins. And we've gone over this before.
I mean, we can, just to shout one person out who's been a great example of everything that we go over, right? Marco, right? So, and everyone that's signed up here in the last several months, they've heard me say it to them, right? When Marco came here, first of all, what I'm about to say, he felt very comfortable saying to me when we first sat down to go over whether or not this is the right place for him, right? I had trained a bunch of his cousins like over 10 years ago, and so we kind of knew each other up until that point. We actually, when he was still a teenager in high school, we used to see him at the gym that you and I met at and used to work at, right? So I never exchanged any words with him at that. I don't even remember him opening his mouth the entire time he was a member there. He was so quiet and shy. But the point is, when he came in, he said to me, I want to lose 50 pounds. I'm like, all right, we can make that happen. And then he said, I'm Mexican. You can't take away beers or tacos from me. And I was like, all right. So we were cracking up, and I'm like, you can't be an asshole about anything, especially your nutrition and your sleep. But we'll show you how you don't have to do a trendy type of diet and starve yourself from great things in life and achieve this goal. But let's slow cook it and give it a year, right? And just being consistent with these simple daily habits. He lost 50 pounds in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Kept it off. I've been saying he hasn't put on an ounce, and I actually have been wrong. So it's been about a year and a half since he started that journey with us. He checked in with me, just pulled me aside one point last week and was like, dude, I just weighed myself and I'm down another 10. So he's down 60 pounds overall, and it was all fat. Like, he didn't lose an ounce of muscle. And that's huge. That's huge because most people, I mean, you see some people go through some drastic weight loss transformations, and they still have that fat fucking head. And it's because they lost a ton of muscle and water, and they didn't really target fat loss.
They're just a smaller version, right? A smaller version.
It's just a smaller, they're a skinnier, fat version of themselves.
Still flabby, but just a smaller version of what they had started with.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great prime example of what can be done by just stacking little wins on top of each other, right? If you're interested in a transformation like that, you know how to reach us, right? So you can DM us, you can call us, obviously, or just head on over to our site, overdrivefitnessny.com, and just book an 8-week challenge consultation with me, right? So we'll figure out if you're a good fit for our program and if we can definitely help you. And if you decide to jump on board, just know we're fully behind you and we're going to support you on your journey to lose the weight you want to lose, right? So, I mean, I'm proud to say we got some awesome new faces that just joined recently. I'm excited to see their transformations. I mean, we had that one couple that came in and they said to me in their onboarding session, like, so are you ready to add our transformations to your slideshow? And I was like, hell yeah. So that's the energy we want. We love feeling that, right? Not only does it make our job easier, but it makes this whole business more enjoyable, this career that we've built for each other. So yeah, if you're interested in a similar transformation to that, and you know, even if you only have 10-15 pounds to lose, right, we'll definitely get you there. Anything else to add?
Well, even just going back to Marco just for a quick second is all, you know, once we sat down, so you had sat down with him for his onboarding, and then I had sat down with him several times to really fine-tune his nutrition, and every time we sat down, we worked on something different, and we fine-tuned that. And even now, 60 pounds down, so it's been just over a year, right?
Since he hit the 50 mark?
No, but in 6 months he lost the 50, and then now he's down another 10 pounds. So it's been over a year.
Yeah, I think it's closer to like a year and a half almost. Because he started here like end of August, September.
But he's kept the 50 off, and then now he
exactly,
has lost
yes.
another 10.
No, you're
right.
You're right.
So, and that's really driving that point to everybody, is that he's been able to maintain. He's been on this journey. We've gone through holidays, anniversaries. He recently got engaged, so that's another huge celebration or celebratory occasion.
Bachelor parties.
Which he's actually on right now, and committed to his workouts, posting that he's getting his workouts done. We see the dumbbells, we see the yoga mat, we see the workouts been completed, posting all of his food within the guidelines of what we'd gone over, and reinforcing those habits. Nothing fancy here, peeps. I mean, like, it's back to the basics, because the basics, simple and consistent, always wins. And we've said this like in so many podcasts that we can't, I mean, you can't enforce it more. I mean, and we're just going to continue to say it until, like, just driving this point home. He, even on this most present bachelor party trip in Costa Rica, no less, paradise, hello.
Yeah.
He is practicing everything that he's learned and committing to the process, continuing to commit to the process, and being accountable, because he's showing us that he's doing it. So when everybody has to weigh in this week, I have a very good feeling that his is going to be a great one.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, shit hits the fan all the time. How do you deal with it? Go back to your habits. Go back to what you know. Go back to what we've taught you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have those habits, you don't have anything to know, you don't have anything of what we've taught you, then please come in, because we're here to help. So I'm proud to say that he's an ongoing success story, among others that we have here. So props to Marco, and props to all the other members in this most recent challenge who are really making huge strides and kind of putting their money where their mouth is, and they really put some skin in the game this time around. And that's always what we ask for, is you got to put some skin in the game. If you're willing to lose, you got to put some skin in the game. So we need something from you. So it's not about necessarily sacrifice, it's but compromise. It's more about compromise. And when I've posted this before too, is like you gotta be willing to let go of the good to go for the great. And who did that? John D. Rockefeller said that, I think. But regardless of that, is if you're willing to let go of the good to go for the great, there's got to be a little bit of compromise. Not necessarily sacrifice, but compromise. Because things always get better. When you feel better, when you look better, everything starts to change within your environment. So that's all I need to say about that.
Excuse me. So yeah, props to Marco, continuing to crush his journey, and just, you know, really hitting home, and all those habits that mainly you've instilled into his lifestyle, right? So I think that's a great place to end. Just to review real quick, right? Sleep and hydration. Get on top of those. You'll start to see huge improvements in your health, and you'll start to see yourself moving a lot faster towards your health and fitness goals, right? That being said, we are out. We'll be back next week with another episode of Overdrive AF. It was good to get another one rolling again, and we are pumped to get back in front of this camera. Oh, another sidebar before we leave real quick. Excuse the amateur filming. Since Destroyer decided to move on, however many years ago it was now, it feels like it's forever ago. I think it's about maybe a year.
But he's doing his thing.
He's crushing life. We're so happy for him. So I'm joking when I say, like, fuck him for leaving.
We miss him.
At the same
That's
time,
all.
fuck him for leaving.
We miss him.
Yeah, so if he sees this, fuck you, Desi. Right? So, yeah, the poor editing is because this guy is in charge of it now. So, you know, we'll see what I can pump out as far as getting this uploaded properly, right? So those of you that love to actually watch the show as opposed to just listen to it, this will be up on YouTube as soon as I'm done editing it. So hopefully I can figure out what to do on the keyboard in a timely manner. And like I said, with that being said, we are out. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next week. Peace.